Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Saturn in Gemini in a natal chart. Now, Saturn in Gemini. Well, first I want to state, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the Saturn placements and natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may refer to them as snappy, so what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up, well, Saturn in Gemini, Saturn is connected with the father, older people, and authority figures. So, one or more of these people may actually be a Gemini sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are very mercurial, vivacious, spirited, versatile, loquacious, diversified, but yet can be contradictory at times and high strung, or it could be people that are in a Gemini profession, such as working in the communications field, like being a reporter, journalist, writer, data or satellite communications, working in a field connected with manual dexterity, such as being an auto or refrigeration mechanic. Also, to keep in mind, this placement can sometimes indicate very like pessimistic or negative thinking. Saturn is connected with negativity and pessimism. Gemini, of course, is associated with thinking, and Saturn is karmic as well. And the thing about this is this person has to be careful, because there can be karma due to gossiping, being overly superficial, or just simply living vicariously through another person's existence, as opposed to, establishing, one's own, identity, and in being, true to oneself, and, and make their own accomplishments. And this is about Saturn is connected with restrictions and limitations. So having this placement in your natal chart, you may be someone that has, there may be some, restrictions or limitations connected with communication. The person, may, in a lot of, not, well, I mean, at least in some instances, may actually be articulate and be able to verbalize things well. But the thing is, he or she may sometimes be, be reluctant to speak in terms of it, as far as their ideas or their thoughts being maybe mocked or ridiculed. Also, too, there may be some restrictions and limitations in connection with assimilating information. It could be, verbalizing and articulating things, disseminating information, manual dexterity. There may be some, limitation connected with that, or some use with the arms and or hands that is limited, or even with local transportation, whether it's due to something physical, or it could be, a life situation, or not being, having the means, to have a reliable vehicle, as some examples of the person may be situated in a place where they're not, where it's hard for them to get, to stores, for example, due to being at a good distance from them. Now, there may just be mobility issues in general. Saturn is also connected with chronic issues. So when you have this placement, there may be, chronic issues associated with the hands, the arms, the nerves, the lungs. There may be, some examples: carpal tunnel syndrome, fibromyalgia, lung cancer. There may be arthritis that's perpetual, that's chronic or ongoing in the arms or hands that the person has to deal with. There may be extensive nerve damage in the arms or hands. I have my moon in Gemini, my natal chart, and I have a lot of extensive bad nerve damage in my hands and arms, and it's also in other parts of my body. Another thing too is that Saturn is associated with responsibilities. So having Saturn and Gemini in your natal chart, there may be more than average, maybe more responsibilities than the average person in connection, with short journeys, local transportation, communication in general, whether it's through writing or, it's email messaging, taking messages for people. You may be in a field in which you're, constantly, taking messages for somebody. There may be more responsibilities associated with manual dexterity, whether it's repairing cars, vehicles in general, refrigerators, and things that require you being proficient with the hands, and also just in assimilating, gathering information in general. Now, Saturn is also associated with laborious work. So if you have Saturn and Gemini in your natal chart, you may often work hard. It could be in vehicle repair. It could be, doing something, just driving, whether it's, running errands for people, bringing people, to stores. It could be work as a driver, a position as a driver where you're, delivering, merchandise from point A to point B. It could also be, working as a car salesman in some cases. Just gathering information in general, assimilating information, processing it, disseminating info. Could also be doing some work as, as a journalist, or working in the communications field, or being, a reporter. Also, too, Saturn is connected with the career. So if you have Saturn and Gemini in your natal chart, you may have a career in writing or journalism or some other field that's affiliated with communications, such as data or satellite communications. Could be doing something with telephone repair work, or telephone technician, working as a reporter, a journalist. There may be a career for some people in software developing, as a software developer, as another example. It could be working in mail, postal work, working as a mail courier. So those are some examples. And the thing about it is, or you may be in a career where you simply, are doing a lot of things practically simultaneously, working in a field where multitasking figures prominently. And the thing too is, with this placement, Saturn is connected with fear. So, as I was stating before, in some instances, this person may feel, certain reluctance, or be apprehensive in speaking due to fear of being mocked, being ridiculed. They may be more sensitive to derogatory, statements. And even if it's constructive, they may get more upset, on average compared to the average person. There may be a fear of simply expressing a whimsical or vivacious side, more comical or humorous side, or being inquisitive, being in fear that, one may be perceived as being overly nosy, due to asking, someone questions. It can be where there may be some kind of fear connected with frivolous talk. It could be just speaking in general. Now, another thing about Saturn and Gemini, Saturn is connected with concentration. So, this person, may desire to concentrate on manifold things. It might be where the person may not be satisfied just concentrating on one thing, at a time. But at the same time, the thinking may be methodical, because Gemini is connected with thinking. Saturn is methodical, deliberate. It's also could be where a person may concentrate strongly on games that are connected with mental agility, such as Lumosity or Haiku, as some examples. Or it could be in quick reaction sports, which may include badminton, racquetball, ping pong as some examples. So, those are some things that this person may strongly, concentrate on. I had a friend many years ago that has this placement in his natal chart, Saturn and Gemini. And he worked as an auto mechanic, and he's, really, he had very strong powers of concentration and connection with it. He tried, not to let any, extraneous things affect him while he would be working on vehicles. So I remember that very well. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard is saying, stay well.